nerds, welcome back to the Countdown. I'm your Countdown host, MJ Buck, back for another episode here in the world of the Countdown. Hope everybody's doing good. That right now, COVID is back, and it's back with a vengeance. If you've just paid attention to sports, you have seen COVID has been kicking a lot of people's ass. So definitely go out there, get your shots, get those boosters. This new one is rough and tough, and it ain't taking prisoners. So please take care of yourself and those around you, and those you may just bump into one time, please. But I got a countdown here for you, and as you may see, I'm not alone. Once again, back here into the Countdown. You know him as he's the host of Buzzing with Marlo. Hopefully you've been listening to that. Also, you can see him with the Commission Talks. I recently watched a couple of those episodes as well. Warren Marlowe, what's up, bro?
Yo, Book, what's up, man? What's up? I appreciate the shout out for the Commission's Talks. It's definitely interesting.
I don't know if you realize I was actually watching that last one live. I don't know if you realize if that was me in there.
Okay.
Bad Book 1?
Yeah, I had a feeling it was you for a second. I was like, that kind of sounds familiar.
Yeah, that was me. So literally by the end of that, I had tornado sirens going on in my area because we had that Direcio show up, and it just siren showed up. I was at work and I had to go down in a basement, and it was just a lot of wind and a lot of rain, some serious wind. And some tornadoes dropped here and there, but
good.
Oh yeah, in my area it was just mainly the winds and the rain.
Definitely haven't been a joke lately.
No, the weather has been.
Those are not a joke.
No, Mother Nature.
We're dealing with rain right now in Florida.
Well, Mother Nature's been weird. She's been weird this December, but we've got a countdown.
She's got her days, I guess.
Yeah, she does. We have a countdown, and as it was before, this one is also wrestling. And if you watched our last episode together, you saw us counting down our favorite heels, and I said right there, we might as well just do the opposite. This is our faces, our favorite good guys or gals, depending. You never know, can't tell.
Yeah.
How difficult was this list for you?
The baby faces, I actually was probably a lot easier than the heels, in my opinion, just because when you were kids, you knew who you liked. You knew who you idolized. Most of the kids pretty much idolize the baby face, other than yourself. You idolize one of the worst heels out here, like literally Roddy Piper. So literally, you basically went for Joker instead of the original Batman and Superman type scenarios. But it was a lot easier. It was definitely a lot easier, in my opinion.
This was definitely a little easier. It was just ordering it a couple of times. It got a little rougher. But
it just had to make sense. That was my thing. It just had to I had to make sure it made sense, and like based off of popularity, based off how the crowd invests into them, how the crowd reacts to the comment, just to their entrance. That's when you know you're solidified as a good baby face. If your entrance hit and you don't have no reaction, you ain't nothing.
Yeah, we've seen that happen a few times. I'm pretty sure I know who your number one is. Don't say anything yet. But if it's who I think it is, he definitely has had the wide spectrum of fan interactions. That's all I'll say. I'll be shocked if he's not on your list. He's my guess is your number one. Don't say anything yet. We're going to definitely build there. I just say we just jump right into it. The heck with these honorable mentions for this one. Let's just dive in.
Okay.
All right. So, no. Always a guest goes first. But before that, without further ado, let's get started with the countdown. This is the 10-spot countdown, and guests always go first. So, you may go, sir.
All right, man. Number 10. I have got to definitely say it. One of my absolute favorites to watch in the ring, study everything. It's got to be the one and the only Latino Heat, Eddie Guerrero. I mean, gosh, the selling in the ring, the interaction with the fans, and for him to even be a heel and still fans cheer for him doing bad guy stuff to cheat and made him even a higher and hotter baby face. Gotta go with my boy Eddie Guerrero. That's my number 10.
We can say honorable mentions as we go along. I just didn't want to do a group of them at the end, but I will say Eddie did make it in one of my honorable mentions. I loved Eddie Guerrero. You rest in peace, definitely. It was so good to finally see that dude finally become the WWF WWE champion. It was about damn time. It was long overdue that man got it. I've said it before, one of my favorite WrestleMania main events. I know his name is Poison, but Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero in that ring. Chris Benoit, the World Heavyweight Champion. Eddie Guerrero, WWE Champion. Hugging and crying. That was an emotional moment, and it is one of the best pure moments in wrestling history. Was that moment right there?
That was like basically telling them, hey, we're putting the brand on y'all. This is y'all's turn to move the train. And I mean, both of them did well. I mean, regardless of what we say about Benoit, I mean, I'm never gonna sit here and say we need to put him in the Hall of Fame or stuff based off of what happened, but he was a hell of a hand.
He's one of the best to ever do it. And I understand him not going to the Hall of Fame. And it's a shame because that place was made for somebody like that with what he does in the ring. You just can't compare him to anybody else. He's a one of a kind in the ring. And unfortunately,
Dynamite Kid and him.
Dynamite's close. He's close.
Very comparison.
He's close. And I love the British Bulldogs. I would still put Benoit a little bit different. They're just a little bit different, but he's very close. He is very close. All right. My number 10, and I'm so glad I finally get to have to mention this guy on a list because he has been pushed off of a few lists that I've done, and I finally get to put this guy over. My number 10, Jake the Snake Roberts.
All right. I like that one.
Jake, he's one of the few wrestlers that it is a shock that this dude was a face. When he first came in, pure heel, hated, but I loved him, obviously. But when he became face, you could argue in some levels he was right there with Hogan. You could argue he was right there. He just never got any belts. But Jake said it on his DVD. He was in charge of getting people prepared for Hogan. That was his job. So he'd feud with the people that were going to go after Hogan next. And if you look over the history of his feuds, he was feuding with the tops of the business. Ravishing Rick Rude at the time, a top. He had a feud with Andre the Giant. I mean, he worked with Andre. Andre liked him, so it was even better for Jake. So Jake, one of the all-time greats, and of course, the DDT.
He helped Warrior out real big. He helped Warrior out a lot.
Oh yeah, and that was right before the Warrior went and disappeared again. After he got bit by the cobra.
Yeah, exactly. You ain't lying.
Jake the Snake, all-time great face, great heel, of course, as well. And so glad, that's why I made this picture. I'm so glad that he finally got to be a Hall of Famer, long deserving. He is one of the business's all-time greats, great psychologist, great with the mic.
Oh, yes.
And he proves that point that you don't have to yell. You can talk calmly without shouting. And that's what makes him so damn good. Jake the Snake. Number 10.
He was relatable. He was very relatable to the crowd. The crowd could relate to him, and they were fucking scared of that snake.
Here's the thing.
What? Think about that snake.
Here's the thing. I am terrified of snakes. I can't even watch videos of snakes.
Of them. That's the funny
thing.
Yeah, he was terrified of snakes. He's carrying that big old snake around all over the place.
Oh yeah, I know. He carried tons of snakes around. It wasn't the same one he was taking because they don't like to travel. So it'd be a different one in every town.
Snake named Damien. That's it for me. That I would have been done.
Well, Jake
Macho
said
Man
it.
took that bite. Oh my
Oh,
god.
that's what I was just about to talk about. Even though that's when he was a heel, I'm terrified of snakes. I don't know where it came from, but I really do believe that that's when it happened. When I saw a cobra chewing,
Oh my
there's no way of putting it around.
he was terrified of that one.
Yeah.
Did you see when he talked about it in the
I saw it. I saw it.
I think it was the Joe, I can't remember his name now.
I know what you're talking. Joe Rogan.
Yeah, Joe Rogan. I don't know why my mind just went blank on that. But yeah, he was talking about the most terrifying thing that he had involving with the snake was when he had to deal with the cobra. He said the cobra was not controllable. Like that thing was wild, everything. And they all told him like this one really will bite. And Macho Man,
he was an idiot. Macho Man's like, I need to feel it. I need to feel it.
Let me feel it.
Let me feel the poison inside your body. I mean, it's like, okay.
Is it gonna kill me?
Yeah. Randy. Rest in peace to Randy as well. Nut job. Number 9. So, what do you have?
You just said it, Macho Man. I absolutely love Macho Man. Macho Man was so good with the crowd. My gosh. He was one of those first electrifying characters to immortalize the third person talk. Literally own the world, basically. Like the world revolved around Macho Man. And honestly, he was almost bigger than Hogan for a moment. Like literally the fans really started turning on Hogan and started towards the Macho Man. And those two worked and became the mega powers. And I mean, great feuds that they had in the past. But Macho Man worked a crowd. My gosh.
Yes,
like,
he did.
Literally, one of my favorite wrestlers, like literally, if you think about it, and I think he's even said it perfect, was Macho Man paved a way for that type of gimmick to start out in professional wrestling. The third person being kind of flamboyant, but literally just lighting up the camera, basically.
A rock precursor.
Wearing purple, yellow, green, orange, lime. Who the heck would have thought a baby face would wear lime colors? Like
he never wore the same thing twice.
Exactly. Like Macho Man brought that persona to professional wrestling, in my opinion. So that is going to be my number 9 pick. Macho Man. Rest in peace, Randy Savage.
And he made a lot of people eat those nasty, gotta have beef, gotta have spice, ooh, excitement. Snap it to a Slim Jim, oh yeah.
You imagine the royalties he would have still got if he was still alive right now?
Those things were disgusting. But I ate them just because Randy Savage did the commercials. That's the only reason I did. Those things were disgusting.
That's probably how kids were with Popeyes. And you know, daggone well, you don't like spinach. So it's
but Popeye the Sailor was on it.
Popeye, like just cracking it on cold. And I'm like, no, I couldn't do that one. But man, you can't go wrong, man. You made Slim Jim a global phenomenon. So
yeah, he did. As soon as he stopped doing those commercials,
it deteriorated. Yep.
It went down. WWE started doing it without him, and it just went to crap.
Slam buddies, man. I guarantee you, Macho Man was probably the top second buyer for sure.
Probably was. Buddies. He probably was. I encourage people to search on YouTube. There's an old talk show, the Arsenio Hall Show. You need to search Macho Man on the Arsenio Hall Show. Mach is hysterical. Mach is absolutely hysterical on that show. He was just born. Gosh. He was born to have that camera in his face, just born for it. It's a damn shame we did not get a Hall of Fame induction speech from him, because it'd have been the greatest of all time. That speech would have been just the bomb. Just let him go. He can go for an hour. I don't care. I'm there for the full time.
I want to see if he would actually still talk that way.
Oh, you know he would have tried. He would have tried to say something. At least he would have said, "Ooh, yeah." He would have ended it with that. So he would have probably done it.
Did it better than Hogan. Oh yeah.
I would agree with that. Savage, great pick. That's a great one. And it's ironic. My number 9 is connected to the Macho Man Randy Savage. Simply put, he was involved in the greatest wrestling match in history. To me, my number 9, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I have said Ricky is one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time. People don't talk about Ricky, and it is a fucking shame. This dude had it all. The look, tremendously athletic, gifted. He just didn't seem to mess up in the ring. One of those few wrestlers that just seemed to be perfect every time in that ring. And he would put together the best matches. The belt that's on his waist right there, the Intercontinental title, I bought it. He brought it. I bought that belt because of the match between your number 9 and my number 9. So it's perfect that we have these as number 9. And no, folks, we did not prearrange this. I don't know his numbers. So this just was a perfect match that he had Savage and I had Ricky. Ricky, it's a shame his WWF career wasn't as it should have been, because I think we all can agree he should have been WWF champion. Hands down, he'd have been perfect. He probably would have been bigger than Hogan. I don't think that's hyperbole in saying it, because he was huge over. Thankfully, he did get to WCW and became the WCW champion, and we got to see those great matches with Ric Flair. Again, look those up. Those are
cool. I love how you said that.
Mm-hmm.
We sit here and talk about Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. If nobody knows who that is, he's the guy that made Ric Flair go the distance.
Mm-hmm.
And
he
when I
tested
say the distance,
Flair.
ladies and gentlemen, listen to some of Ric Flair's promos. Listen to some of his interviews. 60 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Not just one night, not just 2 nights. Every single night those two went together. 60 minutes. I've wrestled a 60-minute match. I have been blown up. Those guys sitting there blowing 60-minute matches every night.
Every night.
For almost 3 to 4 months straight. Man.
And every match got good. Every match got better than the last.
They weren't the same. They were not same. They were always one up.
They were always different.
Something different.
They always different.
Learned how to reach the crowd. The crowd was invested the whole hour. Like, come on, man. Like, if you really don't know who Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is, highly recommend watch YouTube. Watch wherever you need to do. Type in Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And
please look up Ricky.
Guarantee you, in the top 3, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Ric Flair has got to be in one of the top 3 matches of all time.
There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt. Ricky is an all-time legend.
Workhorse. Literally, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was that guy. We talk about Jake the Snake was the guy to prepare people for Hogan, but man, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was Shawn Michaels before Shawn Michaels.
Had the career gone a little better in the WWF, I think you'd be saying Ricky's name a little more than Shawn's.
He'd have been higher.
He'd have been way higher than Shawn. That's why I'm saying he's the most underrated, because people just don't think of this guy, and it's a shame. And I'm so glad I was able to do this list so I could finally say this name, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, number 9 face. Please look up Ricky the Dragon. Go on YouTube. I have the Ricky the Dragon DVD. Get that, because it's got so many of his great matches, including Flair. So, and Savage. Please look up Ricky the Dragon. My number 9.
I love it. I love that one. That was good. I like that one.
I figured you would. What you got, sir? What you got is number 8.
All right, man. We got 8. Ooh, I got to go with him. All right, so everybody knows my little alter ego, a.k.a. American Prodigy. But is that a masked character?
Okay.
Would you believe? Now, who would you pick for one of the top masked characters for fan favorite wise? That's never been a bad guy. Has never had a bad match, in my opinion, that I have known, that I've seen so far, other than one of the things that happened in Japan. But other than that, literally, I've got to go with this guy, Ray 619 Mysterio. one of my true idols, just because when I saw Ray wrestle, I knew for a fact I could never own up and wear a mask and try to even come close to that level. And needless to say, I actually had some pointers from him, a couple other guys, literally like, hey, you don't have to be like that. You can make your own platform. But man, when you think of a luchador, probably the greatest luchador of all time, I think is Rey Mysterio. Like babyface wise, come on. There is nobody else that comes close to Ray. Ray literally is what a true babyface is. He is one of the guys that will kiss the babies, high five the fans, do whatever you need to do for him. Like he is that guy. Shame the poor guy is only 5'6". Shame the guy's probably 180 pounds, but now sucker's in great shape. And he's actually made history, even though people want to knock him, whatever. He's the first person to ever have him and his son as a tag team
champions,
tag team champs. So
father and son.
Ray is still breaking history, even though we're not liking what's going on with that. But he's still showing an effect. He's still bringing something to WWE. Still doing what he needs to do. And even better, Ray doesn't even have to be in WWE. He could go travel out in the Indies, and fans love him even more. So definitely number 8. I've got to go with my man Rey Mysterio, Mr. 619. My favorite Rey Mysterio has got to be when he was wearing the Spider-Man costume. That thing.
Oh, jeez.
That was amazing.
Here's the thing
Flash, but you know.
here's the thing about Ray. I respect Ray.
Was never the same. Never.
No, they
same.
weren't.
That's
they weren't.
One thing that blew me away. He
weren't.
Always had so many different apparels, and they were all new gloves, new pants, new everything. Like guys usually can't work a wrestling character in the pants that Ray does, and Ray pulls it off perfectly.
Yep, he does.
I gotta definitely say number 8 has got to be Ray.
Here's the thing about Ray. I respect Ray. I've liked him a few times here and there. I've never been that big on Ray. I like him. I respect him. But he didn't even make an honorable mention for me. I do like him. I mean, you know, I remember, of course, Ray.
Yeah,
you know, ECW with, you know, when I think of Ray, I think of some of those matches in ECW first. Then I think of his matches in WCW. Yep. Then I will think of WWF, because all you have to say is those matches with Dean Malenko in WCW. Please look those up. Those are absolute classics. WCW did not do a lot right, but the cruiserweights, that was perfect. Those matches were always spot on, always perfect. They always just lit it on fire because they knew that they weren't going to get any push, any credit from the producers and all that. This was just for them and us to enjoy. And thankfully, through the years, fans have appreciated what those cruiserweights did in WCW. So I do respect Ray for that. He did get his chance to be the World Heavyweight Champion. Of course, it was
one of the best stories. One of the best stories. Just literally, I mean, we know the reason of it, but man,
we know the reason. Yeah.
Could that be told any better way? Going in at the Rumble, being number 2, and winning the Rumble, coming out to Eddie Guerrero's lowrider. Like literally, the story was written so good. And then when he lost the match with Randy, and Randy took his title shot, you just saw everyone was heartbroken. Like, oh my gosh, the fans were so behind Ray, behind Ray.
Underdog story.
I remember I was like 13 years old, and I was blown away. Like just the story. I'm like, man, I hope Ray gets to go to WrestleMania and face Kurt Angle, face Randy Orton, get that title. And then, man, just the story was just absolutely beautiful.
It was a great story.
And those matches he had with Kurt Angle and Ray.
Those are good. Those are good.
Oh my gosh, those were great.
Those were definitely great. Man. Would he have gotten a title shot had Eddie not died? It's sad to say.
Yes. I still say yes.
I don't think he would. I don't think he would have won. I don't think he would have. He probably would have gotten a shot. I just don't think he would have won.
You got to remember, he did that match with Taker a long time ago, and Taker told Vince, He should be
He should be
one of the guys.
He should.
And Vince always went with what Taker's sightings
Oh
were.
yeah, he did.
So honestly, I think so. I really it wouldn't have been as soon as like it was.
It wouldn't have been as soon, no.
No, I think.
But that shouldn't be taking
so.
away from him, because he's a Hall of Famer, obviously, no doubt about it. He's definitely a great technician in the ring. His matches are one of a kind. So definitely props to Rey Mysterio. Didn't make it into my honorable mention, but I don't have a problem with Rey being on anybody's list of faces. I get it. The closest he was to a heel, though.
Guy, baby, I got to pick one.
There's one time he actually was somewhat a heel. WCW Filthy Animals. Now they turned them face, but they were heel first.
Right.
He was a heel.
Right.
He was a heel. Now he wasn't masked, but he was a heel.
Yeah. That's one thing I think is so good about Rey. It's just he still holds that mysterious look, prestige. You don't ever see Rey without his mask.
Without his mask on, yeah.
So I mean, that's one thing I respect so much of Rey, because man, me being a masked character, that was hard. Like literally, like you having to make sure you have Warren Marlowe's profile and then American Prodigy's profile. But Rey could do it all in one and make it still look like you don't know who the heck he is. And still people are like probably still trying to figure out sometimes. So I mean, I definitely had to pick one mask guy, one mask guy to another. I had to go with Rey.
I figured he'd be on your list. I figured. I was waiting on Rey.
He's a kid.
All right. I get you. Oh, I ain't got a problem with it. All right.
Gotta go with Mighty Mouse, man. Gotta go with Mighty Mouse.
Mighty Mouse. My number 8. Wrestlers tend to have a lot of nicknames, but their names tend to be spilled in there with it. This guy's nickname, his name is nowhere in it. Some people will not like the fact that this guy is down here. Don't care. This is as high up as I could get him. He's got a lot of nicknames. The Great One.
Number 8.
The most electrifying man in sports entertainment. He is Mr. Boots to Asses himself.
Oh, no.
The Rock.
The
Rock. Sorry, man. I couldn't put him up any higher. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. You gotta understand. The Rock would feud with people that I liked. During the whole Stone Cold thing, I was on Stone Cold's side. During Triple H stuff, I'm on Triple H's side. Kurt Angle, I'm on Kurt Angle's side. Undertaker, I'm on Undertaker's side. He made me laugh. I enjoyed him, but I was always on the other side. So it kind of made it rough to put him any higher. I tried to, but I just looked. I'm like, I would root all these other people over him, and I have. Everyone that's above him, I have rooted for or would root for over him. How can I put him any higher? I know he's your guy. I get it. He's your guy. But The Rock, I cannot put him up any higher than this one.
If you put Triple H even in this babyface list, I am not going to approve anything you do. Absolutely
no
not.
comment. No comment.
Oh
He could
God.
be. You don't know. DX. I love DX. That's my favorite group of all time. The Rock, obviously, let's just get it out the way. Obviously, when it comes to the mic, there's very few that can get to that level. Very, very few. He captured your attention, whether he was a face or a heel. He made you love him even when he was a heel, because you would start chanting with him, even though he didn't want you to. Every time he comes back, of course, the place lights up. It blows up. He can't wrestle that well anymore. At least the last few matches were horrific. But he's The Rock. He has one of the best careers in the history of the business. And of course, a lot of people remember that moment when he finally beat Stone Cold, him tapping him on the chest, whispering in the ear. We all pretty much have a good idea, probably what he might have said. We'll never know. And that's the way I like it. I don't really want to know. Keep that secret. But I like the Rock. I respect the Rock. I would love to put him up higher, but I just couldn't do it. So sorry.
All right, guys, that's the show for today. No,
I can't put him any higher. I tried to.
Hold up. You sat here and said his matches were horrific. The man had
the last two
groin problem.
The last two.
He
wasn't that good a wrestler to begin with, if you really break it down. I mean, he was okay, but he wasn't that good. He wasn't that good. He got worse as he got bigger, but he was never somebody you looked at and said,
I'm critiquing you're talking now.
I'm sorry. He was never that good a wrestler. He was never that good a wrestler. I like The Rock, but he was never that good.
Oh, man.
He was okay. He was passable.
So we're on 7. Lord help me.
Yeah.
I will try to.
I knew that one would get you. I knew that one would get you. I knew that would get you.
Number 7. Oh, Lord, my heart hurts.
I know. I knew that was going to get you.
Oh, man. All right. Now we're back to reality, folks. Okay, that was okay. Yeah. Wow. All right, number 7. Let me see if I can redeem myself and come back to reality. Number 7. I've been back and forth if I was going to say if he was going to be 5 or 7. I've actually had to change my pick 3 times for this number, just because I wanted to make sure if I'm making the right choice, because other than that one, what you just picked. But I gotta say, number 7 is gonna be one of the best in-ring performers of all time, in the ring, in and out. Probably hated outside of wrestling, his younger days, but the man that could go a distance in matches, a man that was flamboyant.
Oh, okay, I know who it is. Now if this is who I think it is, you're about to get it.
The moves are crisp. I watched numerous one of his matches back and forth on this. The reason why he's on number 7 is because of people not liking him outside of the ring, is why my visual is this problem. It's the Heartbreak Kid.
Oh, no!
Shawn Michaels.
Now you don't have no room to talk. You don't have room to talk. You have no room to talk now. You just did the same thing. You just did the same thing I did. You just did the same, except Shawn's a much better wrestler.
Wrestler, yes. But here's some things that he did lack. Locker room controllability. Outside of the wrestling world, fans actually did not appreciate Shawn Michaels in those early days, if we remember correctly. When I base these babyface lists, I'm talking about in the ring and out of the ring. Fans embracing them, loving them, taking eyes like, oh my gosh, that's who that is. Like, and them like, hey, you want a picture? Sure, whatever. Like something like that. You know, good babyface. Shawn Michaels fits it in the ring. But outside of the ring, not really, in my opinion. That's why I gotta go with number 7, Shawn freaking Michaels. DX days, I think, is what saved him as a babyface.
I think you just did something a little similar. Just a little similar. Just a little similar. You just hit. Here's the thing. Shawn's not even.
That's all I'm saying.
Shawn's not even on my list. Shawn's not even on my list at all.
See, at least I put him on the list.
He's not even on my honorable mention. I respect him,
Mr. Heel,
greatly, but I didn't like him as a rocker. I didn't like him when he first went heel. I didn't like him when he became face again. I didn't like Shawn until DX. Literally. That's the first time I liked Shawn, was that moment. So, and even then it was hard to tolerate him just because he's there. So I'm probably one of those people you're thinking about, because I just never liked Shawn. Respected him, but I have never liked that son of a bitch. Thankfully, he mellowed out. Thank goodness he mellowed out, because he probably would have gotten shot. Somebody would have really had enough of his shit and just said, dude, I've had it.
He would have offended half the world based off of how he was back in the day.
Or he would have died of a drug overdose or something. He would have died very early. So thankfully he mellowed out. Thank goodness.
Mm-hmm.
But
I like that. Yep.
I can say honestly, I got to see the man's true retirement match. Because I was there for that. I saw his true retirement match. We're not going to count Crown Jewel. That don't count. That does not count.
There's a lot of Crown Jewel matches. They ain't making
they don't count. We're not. That didn't happen in this country. That happened someplace else. It don't count.
Oh my gosh.
All right. All right. My number 7. Okay. If you think I got you with The Rock, I'm not done yet.
Hogan.
Hogan? You must.
If he's not even in your babyface attitude, like, come on now. I get your hatred to him, but come on.
These are my faves. These are my faves.
Oh, these are your faves. That's right.
These are my faves. Just like those are your faves on some level. These are mine. But number 7 is a man who may have been the most unlikely face in the history of wrestling. Ooh, and without a shadow of a doubt, one of the biggest stars in the history of wrestling. The money this guy brought in, Vince is still counting it. He's still counting it to this day. Number 7 is none other than that old rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
You're gonna have people unsubscribing your channel today.
Hey, I like Steve, but again, the people above him I would root for over Steve. I like Steve. I've always liked Steve, as a matter of fact. I liked him in WCW when he was stunning Steve Austin. I felt he was being completely underutilized there. I loved him in ECW, where he was really born. That's where he finally got to be himself, was in ECW. And then Vince made him the fucking $1 million champion. Thank God he got rid of that. Yeah, thank God he got rid of that. And Stone Cold was...
I'll pay you $15,000.
Want you to be the ringmaster.
The ringmaster.
Master of the ring. But Steve Austin, let's just face it. This guy should not have been a face. There is nothing about Steve Austin. He was a face. He really was. Oh, no, he was a face.
What I'm saying by the reactions, when we were talking about babyface, hey, kissing babies, high-fiving fans, whatever. Stone Cold's not that guy. Stone Cold's one of those guys you would want to see, but you're just like, oh man, I don't want to piss him off. What type of mindset is Stone Cold in today? Like, if we're really thinking like those fans that like really believe in the product.
Here's the thing. I met Steve Austin during that time. Okay. He was cool. He couldn't have been cooler. He couldn't have been nicer. So he was amping himself up, obviously, to this high level. But when I met him, he was absolutely a cool person. I met The Rock the same night I met Steve. And The Rock was with the Nation at that time. Rock was cool, too. So Steve was a very cool dude. Steve Austin, like I was saying, shouldn't have been a face, but he became the biggest face maybe in the history of the company. Mm-hmm. Those matches with Bret the Hitman. It was totally by accident. Bret the Hitman Hart put Steve over so far over, and Brett did it graciously, and he wanted to do it. He wanted to work with Steve because he respected what Steve was doing, and you could see it every time they wrestled. The matches are legendary, and WrestleMania 13, oh dear God, that match, still one of the best things I've ever seen. It wasn't about just the moves and everything. It took you on it took you on a journey. The match you were just right there. Your eyes were glued to that ring, and they were telling a story, and it was an amazing story. And of course, when Steve left, the crowd started chanting his name. One of those rare instances where faces and heels flip. They flipped that night. Brett was already headed down that road, but I don't think anybody thought Steve was going to be heading down the road he went to. And a year later, the man becomes WWF champion by beating your number 7, Shawn Michaels. And as JR said, the Austin era has begun. And truer words were never spoken. This guy, every time he comes back, just like The Rock, the place blows up. Yep. If you watch videos of when Stone Cold comes to the ring, it doesn't really describe the noise. It is loud when that guy shows up. It is an absolute, you better have earmuffs on because your ears are blown out.
You're in for a ride. You are in for a ride.
He took us all for a ride. He was the leader of that Attitude Era. Stone Cold Steve Austin. I would love to put him up a little higher. I've got so many old Stone Cold Steve Austin VHSs, a couple of Stone Cold shirts, a couple of Stone Cold DVDs and Blu-rays. I love Stone Cold. Love his music. His music kicks ass. But I couldn't put him any higher. I tried. Stone Cold, number 7. I know it.
Oh, boy.
I'm used to making enemies. I'm used to it. I'm used to it,
man. That's why your nickname's Heel Booker.
I'm a heel. I didn't know that was my nickname, but I'll take it.
Heel Booker. All hail Heel Booker.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
All right, where we at? Number 6?
Number 6, sir.
Ooh, all right. Dang, man, I'm still cheering from yours. Ooh, boy.
I'm not done yet.
Number 6. I got to go with to this day, he is still the best wrestler in WWE, in my opinion, right now. Today. I don't care what anyone has to say on it. This one's going to be a little controversial. He is still one of my favorite guys. You remember how I said Rey Mysterio, I idolized and patronized for my character, American Prodigy. This guy also, instead of carrying a flag, walking into the ramp with the fans chanting USA, why not put it on their gloves? So, number 6, my guy, one of my favorite guys I have actually got to meet personally, was just phenomenal, an absolute phenomenon. That's right, guys. I keep saying phenomenal because number 6.
I got it.
Boy, my son's absolute favorite now, thanks to that Undertaker and AJ Styles match at the No Fan WrestleMania. Still probably one of the biggest matches that happened in that building. And Undertaker's obviously his final farewell, in my opinion. The phenomenal one, AJ Styles. What can I not say about this man? The first guy to really bring it out there, do it, and not even not have these knockoff gloves or anything. Literally, AJ Styles. Brand, every single thing of him is literally AJ Styles. It's not WWE product. It's not TNA product, whatever. If we really want to be real, TNA was made by AJ Styles, in my opinion. AJ Styles was the hottest babyface coming out of TNA. One of the hottest guys coming out of there. And I mean, just the matches that he proved little guys can be the main card guys as well. AJ has adapted every type of style, from grappler, technician, high flying, even strongman style. AJ has done it all, from New Japan all the way back to the US. And I mean, what can you not say AJ hasn't done in the wrestling world? Literally, other than probably not being AEW, which I don't see it ever happening. But AJ Styles is my number 6. My son's ultimate favorite. He picks AJ Styles over John Cena now. My son is in the living room every week when I have him here, just sitting there doing this. We have to listen to the phenomenal AJ Styles entrance song at least 5 to 6 times when my son gets here. Put it on the TV. He comes in there, puts his jacket on. I mean, he does the whole shtick. It's phenomenal. But yes, my number 6 has got to be the phenomenal one, AJ Styles.
Well, I'm sure your son wasn't happy what happened to AJ. I'm sure this past Monday. I'm sure he didn't like that.
That just tells you there's a newer story about to happen.
And well, right now AJ's on NXT 2.0.
There you go. Gotta bring the fans there. People have been knocking it, so you gotta get
because it sucks. It sucks, man. NXT 2.0 is horrible.
I'm not taking any pointers from you. You put The Rock in number 8. That's it.
You're damn right I did, and I'll do it again.
You committed a crime.
No, I didn't. I didn't commit a crime. I didn't commit no crime. Oh, by the way, I forgot to show this for Stone Cold.
You should have brought that out before you said his name.
Yeah, I got the Stone Cold belt, baby. This is one of my all-time favorite belts. Is this thing? I love this thing.
The first customized belt too. Really, if we really want to.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
In that era, he was.
It's not the first.
Not the first, but I'm saying in his era, that's what made him even cooler. He had his own title.
It made him cooler, yes, but there were plenty of people who did it before him. Plenty of people who did it before him. Trust me.
Oh, I know.
All right.
Number 6, Bubba.
My number 6 is a guy who is, to this day, still lighting the world on fire. And he recently, well, maybe not recently, made his triumphant return to the world of wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, the man who is the self-professed best in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Chicago's own CM Punk.
I'll be honest, I thought that was your number 1.
Oh, that's who you thought would be number 1?
I really thought that could have been your number 1.
I thought he was going to be my number 1 for a moment, but I had to really think about it. Again, what hurts about this list is putting people far down. I don't like having CM Punk down here. I don't like having Stone Cold down here. I don't like having The Rock down here. I don't like having Ricky or Jake down here. That's the one part about this list that sucks. I don't want people to think that I don't respect these guys because of their number. But somebody has to get down there.
It's your opinion.
Somebody has to get, yeah. Somebody has to be down there. And just the fact that they're on the list, to me, I think is a great respect to their career. CM Punk is another one of those guys. Was he really supposed to become such a huge face? You could argue the man is so good at being a face. The man is so good at being a heel. He can do whatever he wants. And you can argue whether or not he's the best in the world. Everybody wants to throw it in there. I'm not going to get in that because I don't think he is. But he is one of the best in-ring workers, though. He can capture your attention. He's lights out on that mic. He always will capture your attention. And I liked CM Punk from the moment he showed up. Before he even showed up in WWECW, I'd already been hearing rumbles about him. Yes, I called it WWECW because it wasn't this.
ECW 2.0?
Yeah, no, it's more like ECW Light. But before he showed up there, I'd heard rumbles about him from Ring of Honor. I'd heard things about CM Punk, and when he finally showed up, I was sold in right from the moment he showed up, and I didn't care what he did, whether he was the good guy at ECW, whether he had his own little society when he showed up in the WWE, whether he called himself the best in the world, whether he was with Paul Heyman, whether he was feuding with Brock Lesnar, which people really need to watch that match with Brock at SummerSlam, because even though everybody in the world knew CM Punk did not have a chance in the world, you still were captivated by that match. That is a match that is, it is an underrated match. Brock does not sell for people a lot, but he sold for CM Punk big time in that match. And Brock is damn sure not going to sell a lot to somebody smaller than him, but he sold to CM Punk. That is some respect there. Somewhere there was some respect there, because Brock just ain't going to do that for anybody. CM Punk back, of course, in AEW, and I was honored to be there when he came back to the ring and returned. I was there at AEW All Out there with Rob and Eric. We were there watching. I still have my gear. I bought the DVD. Finally, thank you. They finally released it, so I have it. CM Punk, the self-professed best in the world, my number 6.
Okay. All right. I like that one. I actually like that one. I mean, fan base wise, Punk. I mean, if you really think about it, Punk captivated wrestling. Like, if you really think about it, that era, he made it cool to chant for the bad guy.
They still chant his name.
Who else was going to be able to dance with John Cena for a while and literally change a platform, basically? If we really want to be real, like how we say about Macho Man, we say about Jake the Snake, those gave you options to choose for somebody other than Hogan. That was the thing about CM Punk, I thought, when he came in there, was when John Cena and them, like, it was okay to cheer for him. It was okay to cheer other than John Cena. And if y'all check the track record, CM Punk beat John Cena almost every match, except
yes, he did.
The one they did on that Monday Night Raw to get built up to that WrestleMania.
Yep.
But I mean, I like that pick. CM Punk, I mean, I don't say he's the best in the world, but
I said self-professed. I kept saying self-professed. Self-professed. And let's think about it.
I'm
this guy
anti-Punk
kept
as much as you anti-Hulk. Like that's how I am about that. Just
CM Punk kept his fan base. Even when he wasn't in the ring, his fan base still was only growing and growing and growing. Not a lot of wrestlers can do that. His kept growing even though he wasn't in the ring. And look at the reactions from him appearing.
If you think about it, what made you invest in watching the Royal Rumble almost every year? What made you invest in watching WrestleMania every year? Like, you thought, oh man, they're in Chicago. What's going to happen?
And you would hear those 20. CM Punk chants.
And when he came back to, what was that thing? WWE Backstage, whatever. That was one of the most trending things out there.
Yes,
like,
there was.
That show comes on at what? At 11 o'clock?
Nobody remembers that show.
The end of that show, and literally blew up. He went from going to that talk thing for AEW, and everybody was like, oh, he's going to AEW. He's going to All Out. He's going to be there, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, CM Punk shows on a WWE platform.
WWE platform.
Even though it's owned by Fox, but still, Punk
he was signed by Fox. Fox paid him. He made sure that it was Fox.
Something about WWE, and that skyrocketed. And I mean, for numerous times, I even said it. Punk's gonna come back at Rumble. Now, obviously, not gonna happen anytime.
Not gonna happen anytime soon. One final thing on CM Punk.
Not a fan of his babyface turn right now, though.
I know. But one more thing about Punk.
If anybody wants to know my opinion, guys, check me out on Commission Talks.
Look behind him as well.
I definitely we put our input on what we like about wrestling, and if you like it, you don't. I actually have room to say it because guess what, guys? I've been in the ring.
Yeah.
I've done my bump. I've done run the ropes and stuff like that. So yes, I have a kind of a critique to a level. Is like, yeah, this is what he could have done. This is what they could have done better with it. And I feel like AEW is not being the best choice for him right now, but we'll see what goes on with it. But other than that, I won't take MJ Book's shine. I know this is like his number 2 for Piper, and I know Punk is like his main guy.
Well, trust me, because I already know what you and I are going to do for the next list. There's only one way to go. There's only one way to go. Do you want to know what it is right now?
Which one?
Just our favorites. Our favorite wrestlers.
go.
Doesn't matter if they're face, doesn't matter if they're heel, does not matter. Just our favorites.
Spoiler.
Period. Just
Spoiler.
period. Then that'll really start some arguments just right there.
Ooh.
That'll start it. But I know you want to say you're number 5, but for those listening in, I think you know what I'm about to say. Two-parter, which I already prepared for this. I knew this would be a two-parter, but it's 50. It's been about 55 minutes. So just based on the next one will be 55 minutes. So there's no way that's going to be a two-parter, or it's going to be all in one. So I've got to split just the two. So are you up to come back here in a little bit, and we can finish this out?
Let's do it.
All right. For those of you watching or listening, we're going to be back to finish this up. These are our favorite faces. So far, this has been fun. We're going to be covering the top 5, and I'm sure we're going to get into more arguments along the way. So please stick around. We shall be back here in the countdown, baby.